conformed or must conform to the need and aspiration of democratic society for the full participation of all eligible citizens through casting of votes. Apart from the above, the bill seeks to introduce a detailed procedure and analysis in the publication of final results by the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission after the conduct of a particular election or referendum and during the declaration of results. The criteria for the analysis of the results are now provided for in the bill.
As the bill is subjected for debate on its merit and principles, the National Assembly member for Jara West, Kajali Fofana, says the bill should have been presented to Parliament earlier than this because Gambians await this bill for so long.
Because this is a bill that was long awaited. Since the changes, all Gambians are waiting for this bill. Why so late? What are the reasons? And what actually the bill is seeking is the repeal of the Election Act. That is the first thing that the bill is looking for. And again, it's looking for a new electoral act, according to the objects and the reasons. And that is why Gambians need this bill long time ago.
The Honorable Member for Banjul North, Usman Silla, says the 2021 elections bill before the Assembly did not capture some of the areas that needs to be reformed.
Well, I was expecting that this bill also was going to come with fundamental changes in the sense that it is a little bit different from what is existing. And as we all agree that the verdict of the majority should carry the day, and this can only be if the majority's decision stands. And this takes us to the principle of majority 50+1. So these are some of the fundamental things I've seen missing. That this bill, although there is no constitution that talks about the majority principle, but nothing stops laws anticipating what is coming in the future. So I believe this is one of the key fundamental aspect that is missing. There is nothing that talks about a situation where we have to go for a second round of voting. I believe this bill should capture it.
In May 2015, Gambia opposition parties tabled constitutional and electoral reforms, which includes a presidential term limit, demarcation of new constituencies, and participation of civil society in selecting electoral commissioners. Since the democratic change of government in 2017, citizens and politicians have been yearning for electoral reforms and the laws governing elections, as the current electoral laws were drawn to favor the incumbent. The choice of electoral reforms is important in the decision of every democratic country. However, the wishes and aspirations of Gambians is expected to be fulfilled in the new bill if passed by the Parliament. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Lawmakers in Banjul debated on the 2021, of course, election bill, as Justice Minister presented it for the second time before the Parliament. Now to Egypt next, because Egyptian authorities are set to begin investigation into the sudden blockage of the MV Ever Given ship after it started moving again in nearly a week. The blockage of one of the world's busiest trade routes may instigate a legal battle among stakeholders as to who would be responsible for the damages. However, the Egyptian government is initiating new measures to avoid the same incident again. Details of that in this report.
After nearly a week, The grounded Panamanian container ship Ever Given is finally moving in the Suez Canal. Egypt is relieved that its vital waterway is no longer blocked, so trade can resume for Europe, the Americas and Asia. Dredgers and 15 tugboats managed to float the mammoth ship, with a little help from the moon tides to provide buoyancy. The canal's authority says that floating the Ever Given without unloading its cargo was a significant achievement.
We hoped that it wouldn't take that long. It was very hard to accomplish the rescue mission with this maneuvering. For a ship 233,000 tons in weight and 400 meters in length to get stuck in a canal 250 meters wide, it could have taken months to float it if the grounding had happened elsewhere.
More than 130 ships are scheduled to pass through the waterway over the next day. Egypt says it'll expand the canal's capacity and will buy bigger equipment to avoid a similar crisis in the future.
We will expand our capabilities. Instead of having a tugboat with power to drag 150 tons, we will get tugs with 250 to 300 tons capacity. We're also bringing in 2 new dredgers. They are going to be the biggest in the region. We've gained experience and learned from this experience.
The Ever Given will not leave Egypt just yet. The ship will be inspected and an investigation into the grounding will begin. It will be part of a legal battle between the Suez Canal Authority and insurance companies over who's going to pay the bill for blocking one of the busiest waterways in the world. The Ever Given is free and sailing. The world of supply chain and global trade can now breathe and prepare with logistics to bring back goods as fast as possible.
The Ever Given ship there again finally freed and start sailing again. Now, the Gambia's Public Utilities Regulatory Authority on Monday received delegates from the Malian Energy Regulatory to discuss ways of strengthening the petroleum sector of the two nations. The convergence is set to last for a week, and discourse will be centered on ways and means of enhancing exportations of petroleum products between Mali and the Gambia. Details of that in this report by Sahna Tunkara.
Pura's sister energy regulator, ONAP, is responsible for hydrocarbons to the Gambia, and today's visit is geared towards opening and delivering stronger cooperation between the two nations. These developments, according to Solo Sima, the Director of Consumer Affairs at Pura, is built on the premises for the opening and creation of enabling environment by the government of the Gambia.
Pura took up the regulation of downstream petroleum.
Pura a pris le développement du pétrole en Gambie,
which includes the issuance of petroleum re-export licenses in 2017.
Ce qui inclut la donation des licences du pétrole.
Since the commencement of issuance of petroleum re-export license in 2017,
depuis le commencement de cette donation des licences,
the authorities saw a significant growth within this segment of the value chain.
L'autorité a vu un développement en ce sens,
with more than 15 re-export licenses issued and counting.
Plus de 50 licences données.
The main country of destination,
le pays qui a le plus d'avantages,
has been Mali,
est le Mali,
with considerable volumes,
avec un volume considérable,
enhancing trade significantly between the two countries.
Et cela a facilité les choses entre les deux pays.
This can be easily explained through the close fraternal relationship that the Gambia shares with Mali, dating back centuries.
In order to build more resilient cooperation between Mali and the Gambia, Sima says this visit will go a long way in reciprocating experiences as public regulators.
This here visit by ONAP and the rest of the delegation
et le reste de la délégation
would not only allow us to further strengthen our partnerships at the institutional level,
au-delà de nous aider d'encourager les relations au niveau administratif,
but importantly, it will help us share
ça va nous aider à partager
our experiences as regulators,
nos expériences en tant que régulateurs,
and industry actors to harmonize our efforts and standards,
et les acteurs industriels,
our efforts and standards,
nos efforts et nos standards,
as one country,
comme un pays,
one people,
un peuple,
one region.
une région.
That will be targeted at looking at issues of non-technical barriers to trade that may exist.
The director of ONAP from Mali, Essa Kondo, expresses delight and says despite the challenges Mali was faced with in diversifying their resources, they hope this cooperation will go a long way in rebuilding and strengthening the bilateral relation.
Vous n'êtes pas sans savoir que le Mali est un pays continental.
Mali is a continental country and we are not very close to the coast. This is the reason why we want to diverse our resources to help the country. In this regard, we are here today to open up ways. We faced some difficulties in our previous efforts, this leading to the delay of the act. This was not our will. We are now here to rebuild our aim to strengthen the relation between the two countries.
The Malian delegates, during their stay in the country, will visit Castle and GAM petroleum depots, will engage in high-level meetings with Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance and the Commissioner of DRA respectively. According to SEMA, they will also be looking into issues of joint recognition of vehicle inspection certificates and sharing of market information, among many. For Africa News, Sohna Tunkara.
Officials from the Malian energy sector are in Banjul to discuss with Pura on how to boost relations between the two countries and the energy sector. There's more news coming ahead, but for now we take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
They say we slept in one world and woke up in another. This global tragedy got humans together despite our social distancing. Our nature is taking a break. And giving us a wake-up call on what and who truly matters. Look around you. Hold on. Breathe. Count your blessings. Take time for self-renewal, for a better start tomorrow. Soon, life will be back. Meanwhile, let's stand apart together, with one heart.
Welcome back. Once again, thanks for joining us. Now, the Gambia Public Procurement Authority, in partnership with Network of Financial and Tax Reporters Gambia chapter, has on Monday kickstarted a 5-day training program for 30 media personnel on the basic principles of public procurement. The African Development Bank sponsored program is meant to build the capacity of media personnel on public procurement procedures and guidelines. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The training is geared towards orienting journalists on how to report on public procurement issues in the country. Procurement is the process of acquiring goods and services or works from an internal or external source by using public funds. GPPA's main function is to provide better value for money in the acquisition of goods, works and services, and at the same time enhance the development of local enterprises. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Malan Salum, the Director General of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority, underscored the significance of the training, saying it will help address several public concerns relating to their operations.
So I feel this capacity, this recurrent training will address that. First, it will indicate to the POs the errors they make at the National Assembly that brings them down. Because we have a yardstick, a current that we read you on. So one of key among is procurement plans. It's a very important issue as you concerned. If you don't do it, you are marked down. And we all know the consequence of lack of planning. And we are all here, but you can hear issues about the things the public is facing. It's all because of lack of planning.
Abdullah Nyoke, President of the Network of Financial and Tax Reporters chapter, commended GPPA for partnering with his association to organize such a vital training for their members. Nyoke also said the media play a critical role in raising awareness of tax compliance in the country.
Today, fraud was realized as a result of requests made by the network of financial and tax reporters to the management of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority for the need for training of journalists on the GPPA Regulation Act. However, as the media played a critical role in creating awareness and advocating for tax payment, thus the objective of the NFTR is to enhance the competence of the Gambian journalists in business, finance, and taxation reporting in data journalism.
The head of Project Coordination Unit at the Ministry of Health, Hamang B.L. Manjang, highlighted some of the GPPA's regulations that are designed to improve procurement operations, especially at public institutions.
Enabling people to know procurement activities is very, very important. GPPA has their regulations, rules and regulations. For teachers, one of their main problems was they were dealing with suppliers who were not registered with GPPA. And this is against GPPA rules and regulations. Principals are other government institutions who are given public funds, and there are rules and regulations as to how those funds should be managed. And those management procedures are laid down by GPPA.
Procurement activities are part of a whole procurement cycle, which begins with assessing needs, evaluation process, contracting, and ends of the disposal process. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante.
And from that report there, finally to South Sudan next, where the implementation of the security sector reform in the country has been impeded by the lack of adequate funding to execute the program, authorities say. About 9,000 newly trained security officers in one of the country's training centers could not graduate and be deployed to their different stations due to the lack of resources. There has been no major fighting between forces in more than 2 years, which has improved hopes of a lasting peace in South Sudan. Here are more details of that in this report.
This is the Rajaf Training Center located 19 kilometers from the capital Juba. The training center hosts 9,000 troops. The former rival forces have now been together in this camp for nearly 2 years. They have completed their retraining course, but their graduation and redeployment is delayed. South Sudan's unity government, comprising 5 parties to the 2018 peace deal, says it lacks funds to move forward with the security sector reforms.
These people have been ready for graduation for the last 10 months. From last June, they have been ready. So if we get our selves together and we are able to actually deliver, and we tell them that we want to graduate you, they are ready.
There are 16 other training centers like this one across South Sudan. The forces say they lack army uniforms, food and health care services. African Union Peace and Security Council says it is concerned about the slow progress in the security sector reforms in South Sudan.
We're going to look back at this arrangement and see what assistance can be offered to help with the goals of this project, which is really to help the graduates to finish their program and to be redeployed, and to work very closely with the Ministry of Defense on some of the challenges that they are definitely facing.
The reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, an African Union body tasked to monitor implementation of South Sudan's peace agreement, is calling for more support for the country's peace process from the international community.
Many members of the international community say they would like to first see a speedy implementation of the peace deal and financial transparency from South Sudan's government before committing funds to the peace process.
The reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, or RJMEC, argues that the various armed forces have not had any major clashes in more than 2 years, which shows that guns can be silenced forever in South Sudan.
They should avoid, this inter-party bickering. There should be more dialogue, more understanding. When there is more understanding, when there is a tendency to work together, and when the presidency sit together, when the council sits together, there is always, we witness progress.
For the forces in the training centers, their fate is in the hands of the political leaders in Juba. The army says so far 50 of them have died in this training center near Juba, and that most of them died of preventable and treatable diseases as they wait for their graduation and redeployment.
South Sudan security sector reform could not proceed as expected due to the lack of funding, according to authorities. And with that, we finally bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website, on africa.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and bye for now.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape